If you blame the AI for vague, generic, or flat-out wrong answers, you are probably blaming the wrong thing. 5 prompt patterns fix 90% of bad AI answers fast. The problem is almost never the model. Here's the trap. Most people get one weak answer, blame the AI, and re-roll 5 times or quit. The real cause is an underspecified prompt. You knew what you wanted, but you never told the model. The cost is real. Wasted re-rolls, hours lost. A tool abandoned that would work with 20 more seconds of setup. These 5 patterns are reusable across any model and any task. Pattern 1. Give it a rolls. Before the task, tell the model who it is. Watch the difference. Explain compound interest gets you a flat textbook paragraph aimed at nobody. You are a financial advisor explaining compound interest to a nervous 22-year-old. Gets you plain language, a reassuring tone, and the exact depth that reader needs. Same model, same topic. One line changed everything. Why does a roll work? Without one, the model averages every possible audience at once, so it lands somewhere generic and useful to no one. A roll constrains 3 things fast. The vocabulary it picks, how deep it goes, and what it assumes you already know. It stops guessing who is listening. 1 guardrails. Pick a role that matches the actual expertise you need, not a flattering title. World-class genius expert adds nothing. Tax accountant or pediatric nurse adds everything because it points at real knowledge. Get the role right and the whole answer bends toward you. That is the cheapest fix on this list. Now what if the format still comes out wrong? That covers who. Now the shape. Pattern 2. Show one example. Instead of describing the format you want, paste one real input-output pair and say match this. You want product descriptions in a certain rhythm. Show one you love, then feed the next product. The model copies the structure, the tone, even how you handle the awkward edge cases. Here is why one example beats a paragraph of instructions. Words can only describe a format. An example is the format. It carries tone, structure, and the little judgment calls that instructions can never fully spell out. The model pattern matches what it sees. One guardrail matters more than the rest. The example must reflect the real difficulty, not a trivial case. If you show it an easy one, it learns the easy pattern and falls apart the moment the input gets messy. Show it something hard, something with a curveball you handled well, and it copies that instead. One good example is worth 100 words of make it professional but friendly. But examples cannot catch a reasoning mistake. For that, pattern 3. Pattern 3. Make it think step by step. This is the weakest looking trick and one of the most powerful. Just add a phrase, work through this step by step, or reason first, then give the final answer. That's it. Suddenly, the model shows its work before it commits. Why does one phrase catch so many errors? When a model answers instantly, it can be confidently wrong, especially on arithmetic, logic, and anything with several moving constraints. Forcing the reasoning out first separates the thinking from the conclusion. Each step becomes a checkpoint, so a slip in step 2 gets caught before it poisons the final line. Remember, we still have not hit number 1. When should you reach for this? Math. Multi-step logic. Any task where a wrong but confident answer is expensive, like a dosage, a contract clause, a tax figure. For a quick fact, skip it. But when being wrong costs you, make it show the work first. It slows the answer down by a second and saves you the recheck. Next, what if it still rambles? Pattern 4. Set hard constraints. Left wide open, a model pads and hedges. So fence it in. Under 100 words, no jargon, output as a 3-bullet list, do not invent statistics. Every one of those clauses is a wall. The rambling answer becomes a tight, aimed one. Why do walls sharpen the output? A vague request is a huge target, and the model fills all the empty space with filler and qualifiers. Constraints shrink that target to something narrow. Length caps the padding. Format kills the wandering structure. No jargon forces plain words. Do not invent statistics blocks the confident fake number. One guardrail is easy to miss, and it costs people daily. State your negative constraints out loud, the do not ones. Models default to adding, not omitting, so if you never say leave out the intro, you get the intro every time. Spell out what to skip, not just what to include. Constraints are how you stop babysitting each answer and start getting the shape you asked for. Now the pattern people skip most. Pattern 5. Iterate instead of restarting. When an answer is close but not right, most people delete the whole thing and reprompt from scratch. That throws away everything the model got right. Do this instead. Good, now make the second point more specific and cut the intro. You keep the thread and fix only the broken part. Why does refining beat restarting? A fresh prompt rolls the dice again. You might lose the good parts you never mentioned because you assumed they were safe. Iterating holds the context that already worked and changes only the delta, the one piece that was off. Quality compounds instead of resetting to 0. Each turn builds on the last. One guardrail keeps this from backfiring. Give one clear correction per turn, not a vague make it better. Better tells the model nothing, so it changes random things and often breaks what worked. Name the exact fix, shorter, sharper, drop that line. Steer, do not restart. That's the fifth pattern, and it's the one that turns a decent answer into the one you wanted. Two objections, fair ones. First, why not just use a better model? A stronger model raises the ceiling, sure. But a bad prompt still caps the result, because no model can read the intent you never wrote down. Second, isn't this too much typing? The setup is about 20 seconds. It pays back on the very first reroll you don't have to do. Now the honest part, because these patterns can misfire. A roll can bias the answer or make the model fake authority it doesn't have. Overconstraining strangles a genuinely useful reply. Forcing step-by-step on a one-word fact just burns time for nothing. So match the pattern to the task. And here's the real unlock, the thing that separates good prompters from great ones. The biggest gains don't come from one pattern in isolation. They come from stacking them. A clear roll plus one strong example plus hard constraints all on the same prompt. That is how the 90% actually happens. One line each layered together. So here's your fast checklist. Roll, tell it who to be. Example, show it one, don't describe it. Step by step, make it reason before it answers. Constraints, fence in length, format, and what to skip. Iterate, refine, never restart. 5 patterns, one idea underneath all of them. Every single one removes the model's guesswork. A roll removes the guess about who's listening. An example removes the guess about format. Reasoning removes the guess about logic. Constraints remove the guess about shape. Iteration removes the guess about what to keep. That's the whole trick. Here's your move right now. Take your last bad AI answer, the one that made you roll your eyes, and reprompt it applying just 2 of these. A roll and 1 constraint. Watch what happens. This is what closes 90% of the gap that made those answers feel useless in the first place. The model was never the problem. The instructions were. 5 patterns, 90% of bad answers fixed, no model upgrade required. If you want the deeper version of Pattern 1, rolls are the whole game in the video on your screen right now. And tell me in the comments which of these 5 fixed the most for you.